Hello everyone, hope you all having a great day. In this demo video, we are gonna see a high-level overview of FIDO authentication and how it works. There are two scenarios which we need to consider. One is registration of the key and another one is using that key to authenticate you. First, let's consider about registration. Here you send a message asking about creating an account. You authenticate yourself using some local methods which are supported by the service provider. Your local device generates a pair of cryptographic keys. One is public and one is private. It associates with your authentication data and sends the public key to the service provider. The service provider stores the public key and associates it with your new account. Here your private key never leaves your authentication device, only public key gets shared. Here you are successfully registered. Now that you have registered to the website, let's see how the login process is. You send a login request on the service providers from your local device. The service provider requests a digital signature, which will be a data showing your identity, which can only be created by private key and can be read by its corresponding public key. You authenticate yourself on your local device. Your local device creates a signature with your private key and sends it back to the server. The service provider uses your public key to read the signature and confirms your identity, hence logging you in. Okay, so this was a high-level overview of hardware security key internal workflow. Let's see how we can have this working with our application. Means, let's say, have you your own application or you have project running locally, you want to use a second security key as your authentication. Let's see how we can integrate hardware key with your project. Before getting started, there are a few things to note. U2F with security key is supported on all browsers. Is not supported on all browsers. Currently, Google Chrome has full support, but Firefox has limited support, and other browsers are still working on providing the support. You should have a physical FIDO authentication key with you, and HTTPS is must. Even you are locally testing your application. Even if you are serving your application over localhost, you should be serving it over HTTPS. In order to have it work, you need two projects. First is front-end project and second one is back-end project. In our case, I chose jQuery as front-end and Node.js as back-end. Let's see in the back-end. In Node.js app, you need to install U2F as a dependency. So as you can see, I have installed U2F and required it. Also, I required HTTPS here. Here we can see I have served my application over HTTPS. Remember, you will need to serve Node.js over HTTPS. For that, you need an SSL key. I have simply created and self-signed my SSL keys, and I put them in the keychains, which is available in the Mac. Here, app ID is the ID which you need to serve. Is the URL which you need to target. It will be your client URL. That will be front-end application URL. As part of the process, uh, when we go down, here are, let's say we have these 4 APIs running. The fifth is just to test. We have 4 APIs, two register APIs, two login APIs. In this, we are creating a U2F request, which includes things like challenge and storing it in memory. This session is also being returned to client application. When the user receives this information, at that time he would have asked for inserting the authenticator and press the button. Once he press the button, request will be generated on this endpoint. What we are doing here is we are taking the session that was created along with U2F payload which was sent from the client, and we are validating it. And there are these methods which help us validate that. They all come from this package we have installed. Now let's see how the login process is going. Now we are obtaining the key information here about previously registered user, which would become from the database in production. So after getting that request, the client should be asked to press the button. When client press the button, we take the session which was previously created as well as the U2F payload and the public key that resides on our database or whichever location we have saved that, and we are validating the information. How we are validating? With this method check signature, which is available inside of the U2F. That's why we need this package, which help us register, which help us request information, which help us check signature and validate the things like that. So, and this is how we serve the application. There is nothing to test currently, as we need to set up our front-end application as well. In front-end application, I have simply served the front-end application over 5500. This is a default port comes with live server. I just played with settings of them and given the certification and key, also enabled the HTTPS, and that's how I served it, the front-end application over HTTPS. And this is what I found very useful, rather than having caddy server or any other servers installed to get started. Here, in order to have this working, we will need this API, we'll need this package. So this is U2F API library, which we will get from GitHub repository. It's from official Google's repository. So I'll leave the link of this on the document. Now let's go to our main script.js. Here we have basically two methods. One is register method and one is login method. Both will be hit when we'll press the button of register. This method gets active. When we press button of login, this gets active. There is nothing too fancy I have done. I just tried to implement the functionality, and that's what my major goal was. Now in this register method, if we are checking if U2F works, and if it is working, then only we are proceeding. Otherwise we are saying that it's not supported on the browser. Now we first attempt request the challenge information from the get endpoint, and with the challenge information we can attempt to register our security key. So we have this Windows U2F register, so it will trigger that pop-up for inserting a security key, and when we click the button, the again post call will be made to register. And remember, in Node.js we received that payload and we registered the key, and we saved the public key in the database. But we don't have currently database, so we didn't saved anything. We're just trying to implement a functionality here. Now in the login, if U2F supported, of course, like above, we have checked if U2F is supported or not, and then we have proceeded further. Once we have the information, we needed, the browser will wait until we initiate the key. And when we click the button on the key, assuming the key information matches that is stored in database, we would be logged in. So by this we are asking the browser to initiate the security key, and when we click the button, post call will be made to login API with the all necessary information sent to API, and on the server side it will be validated, and we're receiving the result as it is on the console. So we'll be checking on the console what result we are getting currently. Now